Let me. Yep, so I'm ready. Let me share my screen. Yep, can you see it?
I do.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining our third community call. It's awesome that we are keeping things rolling right now, and hopefully we will see 300 more of those, but we will see how it goes. So at the moment, we are right now we're here on our third community call. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. So today we will be talking about user interview synthesizing tools, how to build an app with Symphonia and GPT Engineer, and we'll have a small discussion at the end. So I will take care of the first part. Matt will present his demos and what he's been building after that, and to close this out, we will be kind of discussing stuff that we've seen, and yeah, the amazing, the greatest thing is that yesterday Matt showed me a glimpse of what he will be showing, and honestly I'm still trying to cope with what I've seen, because the probability that software engineer responsibilities will change in a couple of years are 95%. So this is a huge thing that's coming our way. So yeah, stay tuned to that. And yeah, I guess I'll start with the user interview synthesizing tool. So how this idea came to life. We've been chatting with Vanilla. I'm not sure if she's on the call, but some time ago, she told me that it would be awesome to check out different user interview synthesizing tools, because she had some of the things that she wanted to. 1 second. I guess something's beeping over here, but yeah, anyway. So she wanted to have something to help her with synthesizing user interview tools, user interviews. And after we've had the chat, I've decided to help with that research and kind of look into what we are able to achieve with the current state of AI and the market in general. So I've been looking at the 4 different tools that are basically the market makers right now. I'm sure a lot of you heard about Teammate. That's kind of I guess one of the biggest tools to help you synthesize the interviews at the moment. The user evaluation is kind of competitor to the Teammate. Craftful and Notably are honorable mentions there, so I won't spend much time looking into them, but those 2 at the top are basically the most important ones. So before jumping into the pricing, I'll present the demo. So what's the input? The input is the piece of feedback that's been collected for JavaScript framework that's been developed with my friends. So this is basically the the feedback that's been given by a person in the open Discord channel. And over here at the bottom is kind of recording of their call that they've had with one of the customers over here. So I've removed all the mentions of all the people and everyone who could have so that you want to be able to distinguish who that was and who they've referred to. 1 second, can you hear the beeping at the background right now? It's kind of
No, I don't hear anything.
Okay, because yeah,
Okay.
maybe that's something with my headset right now. So okay, anyway, this is basically a piece of feedback that we can use to synthesize, to like try to synthesize and get some valuable insights out of it. So basically what we will be doing, we will put that feedback into different tools and check whether we would be able to kind of get some valuable insights out of this data. So let's go with the teammate. So yeah, this is how the interface looks like. What's cool about the teammate is that basically it's one of the most powerful tools out there. So you can upload the recording of the call and like you can drag a ton of different type of files into this application. So it can be either a text file or like a recording of the call or anything else. So we will try to do that. I guess we'll see if we will have time, and we can submit that as transcription notes over here. That's what we will be doing right now, and so we will give it some time to process those results, and we'll see how it will like pull all the valuable insights out of this text and like whether those insights would be valuable. And from what I see, I'm a bit out of time. So we will jump right next into our the next tools that I've prepared over here. So 1 second, I only will need to get rid of this Zoom pop-up at the top somehow. Yep, so I'm able to do that. Yep, so this is the second tool. That's the user evaluation tool. So you should be able to create a project over here and check whether you would be able to synthesize anything out of those insights over here. So I've already done that. So the difference between this tool and the teammate is that they would like to get the .txt file as an input for your like as the input into your like into your product. So right now I've added the .txt file with the same information that we've had in our Google Doc, and it basically pulled out all the insights from this text file into the different pieces of the content. So you can see that you have different like delighters over here. You have key insights that users shared as a piece of that feedback. You can get the key insights and the pain points that are like pulled out of the data by the AI, basically. So this is how our input looks like. And the cool thing is that you are able to add different files like audio, video, text files, and so on. So basically you're like pulling some pieces of feedback into your like dashboard, and you would be able to work with that after it gets processed. So as we can see, the teammate already processed the data, and you can see that it highlighted all the pain points over here. Like this is the desire, like customer wants to share types between front-end and the back-end code. There are different insights. How did the customer handle changes, and like some insights, pain points, and so on and so on. So there are reports that are built around that customer feedback. So like you've got the dashboard that has all the insights that you would like to have over here, and like you can check them out. And yeah, basically the insights itself, you can ask the app to generate it. And yeah, right now there's like not enough data, but like I guess that would be something valuable. So as for teammate, this is like kinda everything that you would like to get out of your user interviews is there. So all the types of the feedback that you would like to see, they are all of them are here, and even the summary. So you've got the summary of different pain points and so on. So getting back to the user evaluation over here, in terms of functionality, user evaluation is it's not so I guess it has less functionality compared to Teammate, and it still gets you some insights and the key points, but as you can see, you're not able to to see where those insights are taken from, because, for example, on in the Teammate, you're able to check the insights that are already on, they are highlighted in the text itself. So the third application I've been talking about is the user feedback tab in Craftful. So this is also an app that's been using that a lot of people are using, and basically we do have a simplistic UI. So for example, when we would like to add some data, there are different data source that we can attach to our product, and the only thing is that paste in text is not as convenient as in to other applications, but we can paste it and try to analyze it. So it will take some time as well, and we will see the summary over here. The user feedback is quite delighted and mentions many aspects of Buzz project, blah blah blah, and after a couple minutes, yeah, it generates all the top feature requests, most loved features, main complaints, and the competitors mentioned. So in terms of quality, I'd say that I have no idea what AI type they are using under the hood. So whether it's the ChatGPT or a custom model, but they are kind of from, at least from what I've seen, the Craft tool is a bit less on point with the feedback that I've had in this document. So in my opinion, that might be a bit misleading, but personally, I think the Teammate and the user interview generates it kind of better. And the last thing that app that I've seen people are using extensively for the user interview is Notably. So I've had this data point over here, and the only thing that I did not like about that is that it requires a lot of manual intervention. So you need to basically insert the text by yourself and then try to highlight everything and make the summaries on your own. So that is kind of inconvenient, since we are talking about AI tools that are able to pull different insights out of the data that you're providing. So yeah, are there any questions about the apps at the moment? So do you have any? Okay, cool. So
I think it's interesting that, I mean, you're right about Teammates. Just I've not looked at any of them, but the fact that it gives the references, I think, is very valuable, because with any AI that we're using right now, there's always going to be a concern about, is it giving me the right information? Yeah, it's giving me a nice coherent answer. Is it the right answer? And you have to be able to back that up somehow, right? And pointing back to the text where it pulled it from and say, well, this is my source material, that's going to lend certain credibility to trust what it says, is actually the case. So I don't know if the rest of those provide all that, but it looked like one of them did not. But to me, that's a key issue with any AI, really, is tell me the source, tell me where you got it from.
Yeah,
if you're going to be answering questions about content that we provide.
Yeah, and the key piece of functionality for all those AI applications. Yeah, in my opinion, like your absolute one point is the possibility to get the insights with the AI. So in this case, notably, for example, I have not seen how you can use AI to get any insights out of like your project with Notably, for example. But with all the other tools, the AI is like in 95% of the cases, it pulls the data correctly. Like from time to time, I've seen some difference between those applications in terms of quality of how they are putting that like info and like how they are formulating those insights basically. But like it's not hard at all to figure out how you can pull that data out of the text. So yeah, they in terms of functionality, they are absolutely amazing. So yeah, and getting back to the presentation. So like the craftful pricing is based on the credits. So the credit is like one up to store review or one row in a CSV file. So this is what the credit is. So for the starter pack, you've got 200 credits per month and some like daily, weekly product insights and so on. So, and the pricing is based on those credits. For the teammate pricing, it's like a strict 14 days trial, and after that you need to pay $20 per month. That's like kind of, I guess, the easiest way to create your pricing strategy, I think. And like the Notably is also, it's got a free plan, and then if you would like to move and upscale, you've got some other plans over here. So it's like a bit more pricey than the teammate, but yeah, anyway. And the user valuation pricing is $0 per month. So that's the free plan for starters. And if you would like to scale, you've got you need to pay up to $39 or more for the plus plan. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks. And yeah, do you have any questions about those tools that I've shared right now?
Hey,
So,
Max.
yep.
It's Val here. Finally, nice to meet you like this. I've left a comment in the chat regarding the pricing too. I was wondering which pricing models perform the best. Is it the usage-based per interview? And I've seen one of those use tokens versus monthly plan. That's some of the thoughts that I've had. Are you done with the whole presentation on the product category for user feedback for this type of product?
Yep. I'm pretty
Cool.
much. Yep.
Cool. Because I wanted to bring in this other point that I've left in the chat, that these products would be a good fit for pre-seed seed startups who are doing their first MVP iterations, because typically founders don't have the money for this. And that's where I was wondering if you could pitch it to accelerators or startup incubators. And also I wonder if enterprise plans could be developed for bigger companies with internal startup units inside. That's the thoughts that I wanted to share.
Yeah, that's that makes sense.
I have a comment on that. I saw your comment before, Val. The problem I have with this category of product so far, and this is just my own thinking, is that if you're going to be in product management or UX design or anybody where you're listening to the customer, like to me, this gets in the way of listening to the customer. It feels like that you're kind of outsourcing, like, tell me what you want. Okay, yeah, but tell it to this thing over here, and I'll have that thing tell me what you said. And there's enough nuance and enough conversation that can happen with potential customers or stakeholders, whoever is participating in the definition of your product, that I don't I feel like it'd be too easy to try to outsource, this very useful and incredibly valuable feedback, especially for seed stage startups or startups that can't afford it. Like to me, you don't need a tool for this. You need to go out and talk to customers and get their real feedback, in person or on Zoom or on something. Now, if you're doing surveys and you're getting open-ended questions coming back and you're saying, hey, tell me about this, and you're getting a whole, hundreds and hundreds of messages back, and you're like, okay, I need to curate that. Then this seems, but I don't know how often that happens. I don't know how, especially in a seed stage. So I'm not entirely bought in on this yet. It seems like it's solving a specific problem for a specific set of circumstances, but it also could enforce some bad behavior among PMs. But again, that's just me talking. I think, Grace, you said you raised your hand. I'll pass it on to you.
Yeah, Matt, great thoughts as always. Actually, what comes to mind and how I see it working with our team, because we are also a seed stage startup, is maybe not necessarily for PMs because we have to listen for those nuances, but I find that our growth team really wants to understand the pain points so that they know how to communicate to like prospective users in these like campaigns for marketing. So to be able to nail like, oh, what is it that they care about? Like that's something that maybe they don't need to know the nuances for in terms of product usability, but that's how they could start to get like users' attention.
It's an interesting point for product for marketing to key in on that. Yeah, that's interesting. That might be.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to add one more point. That is it's not gonna be long enough until we'll see the first human interface solutions, where there's a term for that, the valley, this creepy, eerie feeling where you're not sure if you're talking to a person or a robot. Just imagine if all of these if we can scale human conversations like that, I wonder how much value would that market have, and how would that shape our culture too?
Yeah, that's uncanny valley, I guess.
Uncanny valley, yes. Thanks, Max. It is.
Yeah. So talking about the startup, so I've checked your like points in the chat. So like I'm building kind of similar tool for one of the startup founders I've been talking to a couple months before. So he's my friend who runs YC startup, and he also had a lot of issues while those tools were not available. So the teammate was not on the market, and any other tools as well. So he tried to use a lot of different tools to collect his feedback, like the feedback from the users that he collected, and like it's always became like a huge pile of the feedback that he tried to go through but been unable to, because the tools that he's been using were not flexible enough to provide those insights. So this is, I guess, one of the better ways to use AI is to reduce the huge amount of info for like to get like those useful insights out of it. So yeah, that's a brilliant thing, I guess, to pitch to the startup founders and YCs. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's it for me. So yeah, Matt, can you please take it from here?
Sure. I'm sure this will be the only time you hear this today. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Move that over here. So I've been working on lots of things here. We at Planorama are building this tool called Sinfonia. It's been something I've been considering for a long time, kind of building it in my head, which is probably good or bad for quite a long time. When I finally had the ability to go and start building it, we did so, and then AI kind of entered the chat, and we I started realizing that there's more here to this original concept than I thought, and more capabilities that we have. Now, I'm going to add that to another project that we're not a part of, which is something I found, and I've been using it for the past couple of weeks. But this GPT engineer has only been around about a month or so, under that, I think. So I want to show you what these two things that are related can do together. But I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Let me move that over here. Okay. So just a couple slides, and then I'll go into actual demoing. So you know how it is, how it has been in terms of how you can develop products. I'm going to say software products right now, but products in general, you usually go through some type of process in order to build that. You know, why do we create these processes? Well, we created them to reduce the time to market, right? To get the product out faster. We do it so we can reduce costs and probably increase the likelihood of just overall product success. And success usually means a lot of things, and probably partly means reducing costs and getting it to market faster, but probably other things too. So we create these processes, and we have done over time. Some things still remain, though, and I'll kind of extract it out from well, Shania Twain. There was a post on Reddit yesterday about Shania Twain, and they covered that song. I'm like, wow, you're still the one. I remember when that came out, and not a huge fan, but I remembered that song, and I thought, oh, I can modify that a bit, because there are still two things that are relevant: the requirements and implementation. Right? You still have, you know, what do I build, and then build it. Right? And it can be done all at once. It can be done, you know, in incremental pieces or iterations, but these things still happen. So what have we become accustomed to? Well, I think we're accustomed to delay in both of these phases. So everything here takes time, right? Discovery, research, technical feasibility, design, UX design. By the way, I put UX design in requirements, and I don't know that people typically do that. I feel it belongs strongly in requirements, because you're still producing the visual requirements. You're saying this is what it needs to look like, right? And you're translating that from what the discovery and research, maybe the user research that you're doing. You're translating that into visual requirements. You're defining the business rules. You're writing documentation, but probably not, or not enough. And, you know, I would say even the technical feasibility lives on this side. The interesting thing is that the left side here, it's not like it's all non-technical and everything over here is all technical. It's a share between. But what I've seen, and honestly, the reason why we kind of do what we do at Planorama Design is that companies typically have a hard time with this. We at Planorama don't do development. We just focus on design, but design for me involves all of these things. Design is like the original engineering concept of design, meaning that you have to plan what you're going to do, and then you actually go and build it. Now that can happen in iterations like in Agile, or it can happen in waterfall or any other methodology, but that's still typically what happens. But all of these things do take time. What also are some things we're accustomed to? Well, in requirements, usually internal product documentation doesn't exist, or it's scattered about. Look, we all know the Agile Manifesto, or at least we've heard of it. You know, what do they say? They say that, I'm going to quote it: working software over comprehensive documentation. I think what has happened, though, is that many of us many have unwittingly leaned on that statement to deprioritize documentation altogether. User stories are documentation, right? And we need those, but sometimes those are lacking. Sometimes those just become bullet points. You know, and you're like, well, go build it according to my bullet points, and that's not very good. And on the development side, well, they benefited from a lot of automation. That's great. through, going from development to CI/CD and getting it out the door and continuous deployment. But, humans are still slow and we're still buggy compilers, because at the end of the day, we're compiling the information from requirements and we're compiling it into code, and we're pretty buggy at that. And it's not just on developers, it's everybody, right? It's just we're human and we make mistakes like that. So, our processes that we create, in fact, the ones I showed before and other ones I'm not even showing, are all trying to preempt that bug insertion that we tend to do, or defect insertion that we tend to do in our projects. So there are some things that are trying to mitigate that, right? And Copilot is one of them. That's been interesting. Copilot has and if you haven't tried it before, you should give it a try if you're into any kind of coding. It's almost magic. And it turns out, I think we're getting a sneak peek at the problem, because when you go use Copilot, the way it works, it works a number of different ways, but one of the best ways is you put in a comment and you say what you want. Okay, this is what the code below is going to do. And then it just magically fills it in for you, right? And so what are you doing? You're describing your requirements. So what's the future? What might be happening? What might be coming up? Well, this slide is actually titled incorrectly, because the future is not what might be. The future is right now. Right now is what's happening. AI kind of snuck up on us. But it's only been, think about it. It's only entered the ubiquitousness of our conversations around software development over the past year. It's very, very nascent. And so AI assistance is certainly improving and accelerating our work. I hear tales from different teams where they're finding that, say, Copilot is increasing productivity from 40% upwards, right? And probably upwards is going to be even more upwards. It just makes people faster. But here's what I think that the actual issue is that we're going to have software that's auto-built for us. And that's where this is, I think, the part that is a little hard to wrap our heads around. We've been so used to all these processes and all these things that we have to ascribe to, and they work. They cause us to work in certain ways because we have to, in order to get software, in order for us to compile requirements into software. But that may not be the case. And so I want to consider what that means. Because this is not, I know I put this background in and I just was searching for something that looked interesting, but it's a big deal, right? Like, this is not Thor reaching for the hammer, because that just assumes everything is a nail, right? It's Thor reaching for whatever the hell he needs, and it's just made, right? That's the bigger issue, right? If Thor needs a forklift, he reaches and gets a forklift, right? That's the thing, and it can happen. Imagine that timeline that can happen immediately, right? We're used to software taking 3 months minimum to get some features out, right? Imagine if it's like overnight, right? Or within an hour, you get what you need. There is a lot of interesting opportunities that open up, and I don't just mean in terms of time to market and speed, but imagine niche areas in the market that are underserved because nobody wants to make the time to go and build an application to do X, Y, and Z for some people who ride tiny horses and they need an application to do something for them, right? Who's going to go build that app, right? Well, if the cost of it comes down to be negligible, okay, now it may make total sense, right? And there could be a complete set of markets opened up for applications that are needed just to serve and do one specific thing, right? So here's the challenge again, is that those product requirements that were kind of LOL before, now they're really important, because you still have to tell it what to build. You still have to tell it something. Go build this. This is the thing I need, right? Those user stories are very important. Everything about definition. If everything else is automated, I'm not saying it's happening right now, but I can say it's starting right now. If everything else is automated, you're going to need to tell it what to do. Okay. So let's jump over and talk about these two projects, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of a demo here. One of them, here, I'm just going to, one second, I'm going to switch out. So over here is Sinfonia, and we're going to build an application really quick. And I'm going to do all this live, so stuff may not work, but Sinfonia will work, but other things, you know, it's live, right? So this is what happens. I'm going to copy and paste in. So I'm going to call this online homework tool or application. And I'm going to start with AI assistance. Now we're in Sinfonia right now. The whole objective of Sinfonia is to get you to a place where you have a solid product definition, right? Where you centralize your source of truth. Now, does that mean that Sinfonia is going to turn into Figma? No. Other tools do really good things really well. But we want to have a place where we pull all that together because there's value in doing so, as I'll talk about in a little while. So we're going to start with a description for your project. This is assuming you're starting from scratch. There is some ones here you can pick from if you want samples just to try it out, play around. But here's one that I put in. So it's for online homework. I used to work, when I did a little stint in ed tech, I used to work for an online homework company. And so students can view online or view homework assignments that they have due. They can submit that homework. They can see their grades. Professors and teaching assistants can review those grades or review their homework, give grades, provide feedback. Not, you know, this is a small scale thing right now. I'm just toying with an idea. So now we're going to go, and this is where Sinfonia utilizes AI to analyze what you typed in and start giving you some feedback about what you may need, right? We're trying to get you to a more holistic definition of your product. So it looks like you're going to need students and teaching assistants and professors and system admins. Yeah, that's about right, right? By the way, many times it will suggest other ones that it sees based on what you're telling it. So they may be valid, they may not be. You can delete and add and so on as you wish. So then we'll come in and it'll start thinking about features, you know, based on what you wrote and also based on what you didn't write. Right now, transparency, we use GPT-3 for this, and we use a large language model because it has been trained on a lot of information, a lot, right? And there's a lot of value in this brainstorming ability of GPT-3 and 4 now, right? Thinking of things that maybe I didn't put in there at all, right? And we found that that's been very useful as well. So we'll come in here and we'll see what it came back with. Came back with some okay things. Let's see, user account, secure login system. Yep, I mean, I'm going to leave out login for now because that's all there. Homework listings. So yeah, we need to be able to view the assignments. We need to be able to view which, let's see, view the upcoming assignment for me. So for me, let's see, for me, the date. What else do we need to be able to do? Well, let's see, we're going to need, going to be able to let's see if I do view all homework. Actually, no, I've already got that there. I've already got view all, so we're just going to leave that there. We got submit assignment. So yeah, we can submit an assignment. I'm just going to change that. Submit one or more homework assignments. We need to be able to upload the homework assignment that may be in any different format. Submit the assignment to the professor. And let's say view the status of the assignment. And let's see, what else do we have here? We've got grade submissions, review, and provide feedback. So this is more like the professor is doing this probably. And TA and review assignment. Let's just go in and we'll say they can provide feedback to the student about their assignment. I can give a grade to the student. Okay, and the student can view grade. All right. And let's see here, view grades for completed tasks. So yeah, they can do that. So maybe I'm going to say view grades, and that can be, this might be for student and view their own grade, and professors and TAs can view grades. All students in the class, and maybe they want to filter search and filter the student by name and ID. Let's just assume that's it. I'm going to cut out everything else here because this is not we're not trying to do the whole thing here. So, oh, yeah, so we got those. That's fine. So then we finish that. And so what do we get? We get a starting of a map, of a feature map, right? Now, the other thing we can do now is start to we can move things around. We can say, oh, you know what, this actually belongs over here, and these things belong around here, and I want to change how that works. We can do any of that here. We can also say, well, you know what, we've validated that these are the case. Of course, you'll notice I did no validation. We're not doing user research in this call. So it's coming up with ideas. You need to go and actually make sure these are the right things to build, right? So what do? Well, when we get to the point where we say, okay, I want to view the upcoming assignment for me with the due date, I'm going to suggest sub items for that. And now we can start breaking it down even further. This is for the student. So now the student is the one who's going to see what their upcoming assignments are. It's going to start suggesting other features that you might need, which now this starts really getting into the UX, right? What are they going to do? What's the workflow they're going to come? Well, they're probably going to, I don't want to do an update. Probably going to view the upcoming homework assignment, select one to view its due date, review the due date for its, yeah, that sounds about right. Right. We can go through other ones here if I want to submit an assignment. Let me pick one here, upload the homework assignment, and that's going to be the student doing that. So I'm not, view, and this is where it's like, well, not really the upload page. I don't really care if I don't want to get into what the UX, where it is, but say select the file to upload, confirm, and submit the homework assignment. Great. Right. And you can go through and do this whole process. And basically what I'll say is, blow out your feature map, right? Get to the point where you've built the feature, you've designed the features, you've designed your scope, right? The feature map is nothing more than a scope of work that we're trying to address and design and build. So I'm going to switch over to one I already did before, where I've already gone through this process. Now, they're not all exactly the same as the ones I was showing because I was doing that on the fly. But you can see that I've taken a feature map here and said, okay, well, we've got homework assignments, grading, viewing homework submission history. Again, probably more to this than what I'm designing, but it's a starting point. Now, number of things we can do here, right? You can export to Jira, right? This will export so you can get this into Jira as a CSV and pull it right in. It's pretty seamless, and you're good to go. The other thing that we're building here is an export that will get this to a file that you can do something else with, and that's where we're going to talk about GPT Engineer. So GPT Engineer is a project over here in GitHub. If you Google GPT Engineer, you'll find it. It's pretty easy to find. They're using large language models, and in particular using OpenAI, GPT-3 or 3.5 or 4, if you have access to 4 through the API. And it's actually a rather small project. If you look at the files in here, it's all in Python. If you look at the files, it's not that big, really, because what it's really doing is guiding the LLM through the process of figuring out from your requirements what you need. and what you need in terms of test cases and what you need in terms of software, the actual code, right? It is smart enough even to ask questions of you when you haven't defined something, which is really interesting, right? So the less you put in your requirements document, the more it has to ask. But it won't ask everything because sometimes it doesn't know what it doesn't know, and it'll build something that's completely wrong. Okay, but that's okay. We're a month in. Give it time. So what I'm going to do now is jump over to my Linux box here. And this is, again, just running on my local Linux. I'm going to go into projects. I'm going to online homework 2. And you can make this prompt. It's called main prompt. And what I'm going to do is paste in this text. Now, this text is basically the output of Sinfonia. Okay. I took what is in Sinfonia right now, and I codified it in a way that is just in a text file that shows the hierarchy of the features. It says, first of all, it says, this is the thing that we're building, which is the description I wrote in the beginning. It says, this is text I wrote, what we're building. I said, hey, I want to use Node and I want to use Express for the back end. We're going to connect to a MongoDB. We're going to use role-based access control. Okay, the idea here is, though, that we've taken a specification that we created in Sinfonia, and we're exporting it now in a way that is readable by this GPT engineer. And not very long, but you can imagine a feature map that could be quite longer, quite bigger, would have more information in here, and this could get quite big. The point is, though, that is the prompt, right? It's just a text file. And this is, when I say prompt, it's not a prompt like this is being sent directly to AI in one shot and is sending back a program. It is iterating and using this as the source of truth, right? As I mentioned, that requirements is very important because that is the source of truth. It has to know what to build. So I'm going to go back here. And now we're not going to sit here through the whole process, but I want you to be able to see what's happening, because it does a good job of telling you what's happening as we do it. So online homework 2. And so it's going to go into that directory, find that main prompt, and start going. And we're going to see what happens, because I'm doing this right now. So this is what it's replying back with. It's information coming from the language model, clarifying question. Can you provide more details on the RBAC and granted permissions? Okay, so I'm going to say the feature descriptions in the prompt list the role access to each feature and thus imply the code. Let's see how it does with that. So now it's talking through what it needs to build. Here's a user. It's going to need a constructor and get role, homework, submission, a class, the idea of a class, right? Not a programmatic class, but an actual class, because we're doing online homework. Now it's defining the CRUD operations.
So
now we're writing code.
Yeah, my couple of cents. Like the point you've made about the price of building an MVP and an application, at the beginning of your talk. So basically, even the most crazy idea, like the limitation to that was that you will need to spend some money to build the actual application. But if the AI can create any kind of application of whatever complexity with like super fast and super cheap, that might open like a huge amount of possibilities. Like we've been laughing about different like communities or like websites for cat owners, for example. and startups about that. But in this particular case, if AI would be able to build anything you'd like, that might be absolutely amazing.
Well, look, we're in a very nascent period right now, right? I'm going to jump over to their website. If you go into the benchmark directory and look at the README, these are applications as of 2 days ago that they've been able to define and have it build and do so successfully, right? This is only going to get better, right? And we're, like I said, we're under a month of this project existing. Now, where is the, I mean, look, it's nothing is perfect, right? But we're going to need to learn how to code better as people in natural language. Oddly enough, we've spent our time figuring out how to write code in a language that we've made to help us interface with the computer, right? Now we're at a point where we're going to need to learn how to write specifications better so the AI can interpret it the way that we mean it and build the thing, build what we really care about, right? Build that solution. So I think that slider for development, and by the way, UX is not immune here either, right? UX design can be easily automated as well, using heuristics, using understandings of how people prefer applications to be, how they prefer to interface with certain types of applications. And we'll get to a point where AI is giving us pretty good guesses for how the user interface should look. So UI and UX is not immune here, right? But what I'm saying is that we're going to need to get better shifting ourselves over to feature requirements and defining that really well, because at that point, much of this, I think, can be automated. And here we are. It's going, it wrote a bunch of this. Let's see, we're going to see what happens. So, okay. Let me go to project. Point number 2, workspace. So there's the files it created. Now, again, this is at this point, this is a starting point, right? I'm going to look at entry point here. So, I mean, yeah, it's real code. It's real functioning code. And the fact is that they've been able to actually put in prompts here and have it come out perfectly is a testament for the fact that we're just a month into this existing, right? So I'm not saying that, again, any of this is well cemented and ready to go, but we're at a very beginning point here where I feel like tools like Sinfonia, and that's, again, why we're building it, that source of truth is going to become very important, right? The automation can come afterwards, right? And that automation may involve people, in fact, I'm kind of designing Sinfonia saying it's the product requirements for who or what builds your product, right? We don't know what it's going to be. It might be a mix of the two. But we're still going to have to get really good at defining what we want, so then the build can actually happen, whoever does it. But I do want us to wrap our heads around the fact that the build may be happening faster and faster, and not just incrementally, but orders of magnitude faster as time goes by. So what are we doing next? So we're actually working on getting a real prompt export, so that you could, just like I showed, you could export to a CSV, you could export to a text file and bring it right in, and do so in a way that the prompt, that the output, that basically the output of Sinfonia is readily ingestible and would work with GPT Engineer, because that seems to be the project that's getting a lot of attention and making a lot of progress. The other thing that we're doing in Sinfonia is actually, we have our own AI team at Planorama. We have a side called Planorama Labs that is our R&D area. And we have our own non-commercial language model so that we can do things without using GPT. Now, we're going to still use GPT, OpenAI GPT for many things, including code generation right now. I don't think we're at the point where we can get away from that, but we're also doing some work on our own language model to help us do definition and work with the scope that you're defining within Sinfonia, and to be able to explore that. And then finally, if you want to help us out with our user research, you can reach out to us at symphonia-research@planorama.design. I know that's a mouthful, but I'd love to have help doing interviews and more user research. We did a round of that a short time ago, and it's time to start doing it again. So I'd love to have some people participate and get feedback specifically. But that was all I wanted to say. I think I've ran out of time here.
Yeah, like I do remember I've seen a talk by, I guess, Andrew NG. So he's been talking about this same whole concept about different areas where AI is applicable. And for now, for example, the most popular areas are like recommendation systems, search engines, and so on. And somewhere at the tail is like are those small concepts or small business applications that you can use with and like embed AI into them. And seems like this whole thing with GPT engineer that you've shown is like a proof of that, like Andrew's take, that in a couple months, like not even years, every pizza restaurant would be able to build their AI tools to predict when they will have the biggest amount of customers, or like gas stations would be using AI and so on, because it becomes so much simpler than, like, you don't need 200 AI engineers to build a recommendation system anymore. You can use anything until GPT engineer.
It is disrupting a lot of areas, more than blockchain promised to. Blockchain came in and it sounds like it was gonna, like, we're gonna change your financial system. And that's a tough one to uproot. AI is not really coming in and saying, we're gonna take over your thing. It's like, we're gonna help you, right? And the thing is, the way that it's helping is pretty close to magic in certain areas. You don't get to extract yourself as a human from the equation. Not yet, but you still have to monitor. That's why, like Symphonia, I said, you can't just take out your brain as product manager and say, hey, whatever it suggests is what we need. You saw me going in and editing, removing, changing, and I was spending what, 5 minutes doing that. It does help to brainstorm, it does help to give you ideas and get you thinking, but you still have to think. You still have to be there, be present. But this level of automation, this compilation from requirements to code, that automation I think is more feasible. And we just may have to get better at writing code in terms of English or whatever language we use, rather than writing it necessarily in software code.
Yeah, there's an old joke. Sorry, Val, 1 second. Like, if you would like to learn a programming language, learn English first. So that's common one.
Yeah.
So yeah, please, Val.
Yeah, good point. Ned, I'm actually impressed. That's a very cool product idea. That's like the ultimate no-code solution for product emergence. And some adjacent thoughts that I've had was that, we're basically having this opportunity to create products that cook up prompts for other prompt outputters, if I can put it like that. And what's really cool about the application of such product is to create content related to specific product that people would want to build. Like, for example, write me, how do I create a website parser using this language? And then in the article, you can embed this part of a product as a micro product, and people could use it. And therefore, this could be a sort of a user acquisition channel from there. And there's so many opportunities to build with this thing.
There's a lot here. It's a lot to absorb. And to try to draw any line out, other than a big fat line that says automation's coming, right?
Yeah,
like that is pretty understood. How that line is going to bend, we don't quite know, right? And what the offshoots are going to be, what other things we find out, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm quite sure that we can say with some level of certainty, because automation's always coming. Automation's always an issue, right? We're always driving to it. But at this point, automation, is going to be coming for software development, where normally software development was coming for everybody else. They were the ones coming to say, hey, don't worry, your job, you can get a different kind of job. We're going to automate your work for you. Now software developers and designers are like, we're the ones saying automation is coming for us. Like, oh no, hold up, put the brakes on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's funny to see how like the lead engineers are like trying to figure out how to slow things down already. They're like signing some petitions and so on to like save their jobs, I guess. But yeah,
I'll tell you the thing that's going to be interesting to figure out is the data portion, because you can build applications all day long. That just means you're generating lots of data that's somewhere, right? Because usually these applications aren't doing just, not just doing things, they're saving things. So if you have applications that are, built on the fly to do things, even if that application is not required anymore, the data might be. So how do you manage that, right? That's one of the questions that I start thinking about. Like, well, what are you going to do with all that data, right? If we are in a future where we need all, these applications can arrive, that data, and by the way, you may have 10 different applications doing 10 different things now. Okay, but that data may need to talk to each other. It may need to be, somehow it may be related. So what do you do then, right? There's a lot here to kind of grasp, and we can try to have some premonitions about problems coming up, but no way are we thinking of them all yet.
yeah, totally agree.
Anybody have any questions or?
I had a thought.
Yeah.
I think I'm having a bit of a cynical week, but I was also thinking of, where there is like great technology, there's also like great exploitation, unfortunately, of people. So immediately when you're sharing this, I was like, this is really cool. I'm like, oh my God, there's gonna be so many more scammers with new tactics. But
Yeah.
that's more of a human problem, not a technology problem, I would say.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've shared an article about like a prompt injection into the different GPT applications that are trying to parse different websites and give the summaries of like websites, articles, and so on. So people are injecting different like kind of prompts into their website pages, and when the GPT application tries to consume that the text, it receives a comment, like external comments from those websites, and can even start running some additional extensions or GPT plugins and this kind of stuff. So yeah, I can see how it will go off the track in the nearest future. But yeah, the use case is amazing. So yeah, Grace, second that. That's a big concern. Yeah, I guess we're a bit out of time. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining this call. Thanks, Matt, for the amazing talk. I'm sure we will cut that out of make a separate video out of it for the YouTube purposes. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, and yeah, see ya in a couple of weeks.
Great to see you all. You all have a good day.
Yeah.
Thank you
very
so much, Max and Matt. And good to see you, Val. And oh no, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Vladimir? Is that right?
Voldemir.
Okay. Nice to meet you. Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Take care,
Thank you.
everybody. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.